Live from deep in an underground bunker in East Tennessee, this is America's premier mortgage fuel services expert, Paul Williams.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Foreclosurepedia Podcast. Foreclosurepedia Podcast presentation of the Foreclosurepedia Radio Network. I'm your host, Paul Williams, editor-in-chief, Foreclosurepedia.org. The date is 31 October 2015. It is Halloween, and we are in the appropriate place today. We're out here in Area 51, Nevada, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, you may always reach me on Google Plus at Paul Williams, LinkedIn, Paul Williams and the Property Preservation Consortium, Twitter at Foreclosurepedia. We roll on iTunes, Foreclosurepedia. We stream the Foreclosurepedia screencast on YouTube at the Foreclosurepedia channel. And as always, at our home base, Foreclosurepedia.org. We would like to give a special shout out today to Amazon.com, who provides our S3 podcast and video storage pro bono. Today's backdrop theme is the Monte Carlo simulation. Finally, we'd like to give a special shout out to Quality Image Glass out here in Area 51, Nevada. They have helped tremendously with the integration of the Foreclosurepedia Western Command Center. A big thumbs up for Karen McCurry and her staff out there. If you're needing any type of glass in the Las Vegas and Pahrump area, yes, that is Pahrump, Nevada, as in Art Bell from the Coast to Coast AM days. Be sure to give her crew a call. Today we're going to sit down, we're going to speak with Aaron Aviero. A lot of you guys remember he and the All Day LLC machine up there in Silver Springs. I'm kind of excited about that. I want to thank him in advance for taking the time to sit down and speak with myself and the audience. I'm also pretty excited about the show and the research that we've actually put together. And I know what all of you are thinking, because it's on my mind too. What in the fuck is going on with Mickey Snow, and how in the fuck are we going to get him out of this industry? You know, we got Mickey Snow out there on the lam, cruising around with Psalm porn, and we all call her porn. We know who she is. I mean, she's not even good enough to do porn. This is the type of chick who couldn't even be a fluffing girl. Why? Because she's from Thailand. That's why, and he may be a she. But we don't know. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about HMBI. We're going to talk about the days of Alfonso Jackson with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, and precisely the type of relationship that the Washington Post began to flesh out in 2006, in 2008 again, and why nothing ever happened. Why? Because it's the Beltway. But where do you get your information? You get it first. You get it from Foreclosurepedia. We're going to break here for a moment. Let you listen to some of our sponsors. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got Aaron Aviero on the line right now. Aaron Aviero, as you all know, All Day LLC, also has the blog out there in Silver Springs, Nevada. Aaron, you out there?
Yeah. How we doing tonight? Happy Halloween.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, ain't nothing more scary on Halloween than Washington, D.C. attempting to administer the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Don't you concur?
Hey, this is one of those nights where Area 51, it's alive. So, if you're in Nevada, happy Nevada Day to all Nevada listeners out there right now.
Happy Nevada Day. Tell me about that. Here I am in Nevada, and I have not a clue.
Nevada Day is Admission Day to the Union. Our state motto is Battle Born, and of course the mining industry salvaged the Union, if you will, financially, and paid a lot of war reparations off. But in Nevada, it is a big thing. It's October 31st, parade up in Carson City. They have a haunted house. They've taken a Major League ballpark and made a haunted house called Slaughterhouse this year in Reno. It's a big celebration up here in the northern part of the state. Of course, Carson City's the capital and it's political, so that's the chance for all your politicians to come shake hands and kiss babies and that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, one of the things I want to get into right now, and I'm pulling it up, I'm pulling up what's called a command prompt. And so I understand you're having some issues out there with your website. So we're going to go ahead and do what's called a ping command. We're going to go www.alladayllc.com. And we can't even, probably because I misspelled it. So we're going to go, ping www.alladayllc.com. Here we go. So I'm shooting 32 bytes out at your website, and I'm getting shit. By the way, that's an IP. Anybody out there can try it. Open your command prompt.
You know what?
If you're using Windows, and you'll go to 173.254.28.17. And it was a 100% packet loss. And you know, Aaron, I went ahead and called Just Host because that's your provider. And how did I find that? I actually did a Who Is search. And let's listen into what Just Host had to say. And roll clip 1.
Welcome to Just Host.
This call may
be monitored or recorded. If you know the extension of the party you wish to reach, dial it now. For sales, press 1. For technical support, press 2.
It sounds like an answering service.
For faster service, please have your account username and password ready.
Thanks for calling support. Can I get the domain name we'll be working with today?
It'd be Alladay LLC, DAYLLC.com. I'm just trying to find out that I do some technical work for Aaron Aviero, and he said his site's been down over a week. I actually just pinged it using command prompt, and all of us requested timeout. So I'm trying to find out if this is a DDoS attack that's going on that server, or if it's just perhaps he has an issue with WordPress or what's going on.
Okay, can I get the last 4 of the hosting password?
I don't know. Give me a minute. I'll get it.
Okay. Well, it's actually looking like I'm...
And let me hit pause right there. So the guy asked for the last 4 of the password. So now we enter into what's called a social engineering dynamic. So we're going to stall, we're going to counterbalance, and normally the guy should have told me to fuck off. But let's listen to precisely what this guy does with your private information. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is justhost.com, and this is what they will do when anybody arbitrarily and capriciously calls in. And roll on clip 2.
I'm sure I can give this info out without...
I don't need access to the website. Did you hear that? I am sure I can give this information out and it won't be a problem. And roll on clip 3.
The box is under DDoS protection at the moment.
Okay, and what does he need to do then to, get out of this quote-unquote protection or migrate to a different server? He admits that box, and when he speaks of box, ladies and gentlemen, he's talking about a server in some farm, much like the Matrix, where we have little babies, being utilized for their biokinetic energy to power the earth. I guess I have no fucking idea, because he's not anywhere near a server. He has no idea what a server is, and I doubt he can even spell the fucking word server. But here's what he goes on to say when we say, well, what does a person do?
He could upgrade his to a different service, a different package. That would be one way of doing it.
Now, Aaron, I want to make sure you know this. You can upgrade. Now you bought a contract, right? You paid them money, and I actually took the time to pull their user agreement. This thing's about 28 pages long of a bunch of bullshit that basically says, you know what? You're screwed. Now, you are regulated under the Internet Corporation for assigned names and numbers with specificity to the domain name. Other than that, you're screwed. But we'll go ahead and let's finish out this.
Let me interject something here. I got a really weird email today telling me that, oh, by the way, your domain name fees are due. And I'm kind of wondering if there might not be a tie-in to this somewhere. Your domain dues and just everything about it was suspicious. It was even the return address SEO Traffic Services Domainer.com. So there's a warning out there right now. Just Host is having a problem with this server and we're on a shared server. According to the guy, it wasn't our website under attack. The server is under attack, is what he informed me. Or maybe somebody's website in the server. And there's about 7,000 websites on that particular Just Host 17 server. And when I told him, I say, look, we had an agreement here. This is Just Host problem. This isn't Alladay LLC's problem. This is your problem. You don't have a contingency plan for that? He goes, well, you can't upgrade. I go, what do you mean I can upgrade? $309 is what I have to pay to get my website accessible again after we already paid a year's worth of hosting fees. Or I don't remember what we did last time. It was 2 or 3 years of hosting fees.
Well, I'm gonna. You speak about shared hosting, and I'm gonna give a plug. I don't make any money on this. I'm not an affiliate. I use Flywheel. Now, this is what's called managed hosting. I don't have to deal with security. I don't deal with anything. If I have a problem, I've had them in the past. I call them. I scream. Usually about 3 minutes. There's no problem anymore. But, that's Flywheel, getflywheel.com. So far, they're pretty good. It's pricey, but I deal with enormous, bandwidth and traffic, $30 a month to me. Hey, I can sleep at night. I can wake up at 3:08 a.m. And instead of having my asshole puckered up so tight I can't get a stick pin through it, what I can do is get up, take a piss, and go back to bed. But let's finish out the call. Let's roll on clip 26.
We typically don't move customers unless they do that, to be honest.
So that's any. So if DDoS, if I get an account. By the way, my name is Paul Williams. I'm the editor-in-chief of foreclosurepedia.org. And that's where I introduce who I really am. So if I want to move my website to you all at his price point and it goes under DDoS, I'm just ass out, or
Yeah, basically you just have to weather the storm.
All righty. All right, I appreciate you. I'll get back with Eric and let you know. You have a great day. Yeah, did you catch that? So yeah. I'm just ass out. So I want to make sure that my 6 million plus listeners understand. You're, quote, ass out if you're under a DDoS attack. I love that, man. I mean, you have to love modern capitalism. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen.
I've had so many inquiries. I just want to say thanks to everybody out there that's inquired if everything was okay.
Excellent. Well, so that handles, I guess the world of shared hosting today. Yeah, we're gonna get out of that.
Yeah, we'll be moving the website here in the next 36 hours. So
I hear you, man. I hear you, and feel free to give us a holler if you need any help on that. I want to roll on into. I always like to bring up an argument for diversification. So I'm gonna read just a little bit of information out here. As of November 2013, and this ties into a story that's coming up, the foreclosure inventory represented 2.1% of all homes with a mortgage, compared with a full 3% in November 2012. Now, while shadow inventory homes still totaled 1.7 million in November, this is November of 12, accounting for an estimated value of $256 billion, that figure represented a 24.6% decrease from a year earlier, when the shadow inventory amount was about $348 billion. That, combined with the Federal Reserve's Beige Book on 15 January 2014 statement, quote, real estate markets generally continue to improve, according to Reserve's Beige Book. This did not actually, and that's the end of the quote, this did not actually jive, I don't feel, with the district reports. And that ties in to the problem we've had, I believe, in the mortgage field services sector for quite some time. And along that same note, here's our beautiful segue into a man by the name of Mickey Dale Snow. You ever hear of Mickey Snow there, Aaron?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Snow's a gentleman. He's a 75-year-old Caucasian male. Used to reside down in Eden, North Carolina. He put together Snow Enterprises. And for quite some time, the rumors had circulated that Mickey Dale Snow was involved in, let's just say, nefarious activities, some of which were of a fiduciary nature. I can be real careful on that and how I put it. However, Foreclosurepedia has exclusive access now to a plethora of former Snow Enterprises C-level personnel and regular employees, both former and current, on that top. Now, on 25 September, there was a bill of indictments that were issued out, and apparently, Snow was listed as one of them. However, when they came to knock at the door to find Mickey Snow was long the fuck gone. Now, Snow, the entire menagerie, if you will, of these clay soldiers that Snow had put into power, and I'm talking about people like Russ Snow, his son, Katrina, the daughter, the plethora, the utter plethora of companies that he put up like dominoes. We're now seeing how deeply this went. There are currently prime vendors of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development M&M contract, whom tacitly at least were connected by and through these subsidiaries to Mickey directly. One of which, we have and you can't make this shit up. Som Porn, SOMPORN. What kind of motherfucker names their daughter Porn? You know what the fuck? Well, I'll tell you who the fuck named somebody that. Somebody from Thailand. Because that's where she was born. She owned Tongsua Management. You always gotta love, if you ever see the word management or best or anything like that in this industry, run. Get the fuck out of there. Call the fucking FBI. And it's Halloween, so it's appropriate, But going all the way back, and let's talk about going, let's say, circa 2004. Now in 04, during that whole time when M&M 1 and 2 were moving along, what we have is we have Mickey Snow beating his feet out there and apparently passing a tremendous amount of money out there to a company called HMBI. Now HMBI is Harrington Morin Barksdale Incorporated. They were a management marketing firm incorporated in the state of Texas in 1993. Allegedly, the principals had been involved collectively in asset management, project development, real estate financing, and government housing programs for over 40 years. This comes directly, ladies and gentlemen, from HMBIweb.com, the About Us page. We have C-level personnel within Snow Enterprises whom have the records wherein they make the allegations that Mickey Snow was causing to have monies transferred across state lines using electronic means as a form of payment. Now, what was the payment
Isn't that
for?
Rico?
Well, I don't know, because apparently the FBI is asleep at the wheel. I mean, after goddamn Eric Holder was up there, singing the fucking Kumbaya, holding hands in the goddamn mold-covered basements. I don't know.
This company here, they have something to do with the Snow character.
Well, yeah, most assuredly, because this individual.
I think, you know what? It wouldn't this kind of be their homepage? Kind of does a little character assassination. I mean, they're kind of committing professional suicide here with this statement on their homepage.
Well,
the HMBI philosophy is based upon the belief that success is ensured through commitment to the highest standards of service and professional conduct.
Well, if you take that statement, I think the quote to the highest services of professional conduct, end quote, yes. I think if that is dedicated to meeting at the rest area with little paper bags and a tremendous amount of currency in low number non-sequential bills, hey, they fit that category. So if the shoe fits, fucking wear it. But
They also have another problem on one of their pages with talking about, and this is where labor needs to start waking up. They're talking about the Davis-Bacon Act and how it relates to contractors and subcontractors. And what I think everybody slips on in this industry, you are a subcontractor. They are the contractor, and they have to pay you the prevailing wage, not you pay the people under you. And I think that's one of the aspects of being in business that a lot of people misinterpret when we deal with companies like this HMBI at the level. This has to go back to NAMFS somewhere. I'm betting on it.
Well, I found, and to make sure the record is clear, I found no direct connection vis-a-vis Mickey Dale Snow and or Snow Enterprises to the National Association of Mortgage Field Services as membership. What I did find is that Mickey Dale Snow and Snow Enterprises had engaged in contractual arrangements across state lines using electronic means, and I would like to enter here, in my humble opinion, in the furtherance of an artifice and a goddamn fucking scheme with National Association of Mortgage Field Services members. As a matter of fact, I recall when I worked on the HUD 3.0 contract for the two cocksuckers whom originated the creation of Foreclosurepedia, the fucking faggot fucking with the limp, and that fucking nigger who disrespected the United States fucking Army by commencing the fucking pattern of fraud and schemes that he did across the United States of America. We remember those two motherfuckers. Yeah, don't we?
Would that be Lambert and Mathis?
Bingo. Hey, you get to go to the head of the class, my friend. They at that time were signing in using Snow Enterprises upon contracts that Cooper West had overseen down there. Everybody remembers good old Janice Cooper. That's a whole nother segment that we're getting into because we're speaking with other individuals whom have been 86 out of contracts as a direct result thereof that they felt. But to properly place, if you will, and juxtapose what was going on environmentally, in 2004, you have to remember that HMBI had no federal contracts. Then in 2004, they received over $71 million in those contracts. This was during the Bush administration. HMBI, as they began to come in there, received almost $223 million in federal contracts, 80% of which were awarded without full and open competition. There is no arguing that fact because of the fact that the Center for Effective Government published a paper on this 21 May 2008. Going back just a little bit, though, to make sure, because, hey, fair and balanced, fuck Fox. All right, fuck fair and balanced. I'm a goddamn advocacy journalist. But let's talk a little bit about Alphonso Jackson. Everybody probably remembers that old good boy. Came under indictment, and to clarify the record, he was later cleared. However, in 2006, Elizabeth Williamson, writing for the Washington Post, argued, and I'm going to quote here, probe finds Jackson urged favoritism in HUD contracts. You can go to the Washington Post, pull that information out. And as a matter of fact, there was a 340-page report issued by the Criminal Investigations Division of HUD's Office of the Inspector General. Now, we all know how those HUD OIG reports go because we saw how they were done with goddamn a notion. Everybody remembers the Amos and Al show going on there, just nothing but a whitewash. But it carried on for quite a while, as a matter of fact. And so even all the way up until May of 2008, and I'm going to quote here, this is from Carol Leonig, Washington Post staff writer, quote, "The small Texas property management company had no experience overseeing hundreds of default homes across the country. It did have two former Reagan administration officials at the helm and warm relations with senior Republican appointees at the Federal Housing Agency." So the question presents, A, How did Harrington, Morin, and Barksdale Incorporated get those contracts? How did they land the original $71 million in contracts, which then obviously mushroomed out to the $223 million? And what specifically explained the company's meteoric rise? And why in the fuck did HUD have a willingness to bend the rules to accommodate them? Now that in and of itself...
wait a minute, I might have an idea on that right there. Bush has been quoted in the media and on film as saying, you need to come see us. We're in the dereg business. Maybe something got deregulated during Ronnie's term. I don't know. He was Uncle Ronnie. He did no wrong. You know, I mean, hey.
You know, a veteran agency contracting specialist, her name was, give me a second, Gloria Freeman. I'm going to give you a direct quote. This is quote from Freeman. After you've been in the business a while, you get to know the signs. This is a friend. Let's help him out, end quote. Not long after she made that quote, she complained to her supervisors, and she was asked to return to her previous policy job. Now we have a tremendous amount, and remember, so we're also talking about the entrance into the subprime crisis. So we all remember Mozilla. All right, so Mozilla, you know, he had owned Countrywide, and this is a true story. You know, recently I had a run-in with Freddie Mac. Had an old lawyer there, and I'd have to go back through to put his name. He was a Frenchman. Came over here from France, and he decided he wanted to get in a dick-waving contest with me. And believe me, the biggest cock on the fucking block is Foreclosurepedia, and you're never going to measure up to me. That's how it is. And so he humbly went his own way. However, what I found when I began to dig internal documents within congressional reports is he was in what's called the, quote, Friends of Mozilla Club. What that meant was you had direct access to Mozilla for your loans, and you got preferential treatment. There's a problem with that. There's a very serious problem. Wow. Tying that back in directly, though, into the situation with Mickey Snow, I have a C-level personnel who had intimate access to material during his tenure at Snow Enterprises, whom states categorically he has the Excel sheets with the routing numbers, the account numbers, specifically whom payments were made to at HMBI, and those payments totaled over $800,000. So here we know, as early as 2004, that there were problems. There were markers on the radar. Nobody was stepping to the plate. What I also have, former prime vendors with HUD, whom actually state that the public representation, the public demonstration of Mickey Dale Snow versus the private was actually quite different. I'll give you a quote.
I was going to say, we're talking a night and day thing going on here.
Well, actually, yeah, absolutely. Now, it is a quote, and this deals with 2010. Mickey had a way, and I'm going to quote here, Mickey had a way with selling Eskimos ice cubes in January. Mickey, and I'm going to redact that. I remember prior to starting a meeting we had with all major vendors we were planning on using. I took a bathroom break, and when I got back in there, he had convinced my people that we needed to use, and I'm going to redact that, X instead of our own homegrown X. 2 minutes. Of course, we stayed the course and used ours, but man, he had a way with words. And here, another quote. Mickey was always comfortable working in. Mickey was always more comfortable working in the field than in an office. That was just his makeup. I can't tell you how many times we talked on the phone while he was inspecting properties for us. He made you trust him, and that he would fix whatever was wrong if he had failures. Now, I don't want to go too far out on a limb, but there is a process called grooming. That we know about dealing with, and I'm going to say this guy quintessentially is a predator. He's a predator because he had the means, the opportunity, he had the motive, and he's on the lam now. He sold a tremendous amount of properties, booked town. he is, in my humble opinion, a child rapist extraordinaire. Because this wasn't simple rape. This wasn't simply, let's target somebody. This involved using the mother of these two young girls. My understanding is one was 13, one was 15. They both had mental handicaps, from what I understand and from what locals have told me. This was an individual whose mother orchestrated this, allowed this to happen. We have new reports coming in that apparently she used to work for Snow Enterprises. That at one point in time, there were apartments apparently behind the compound there. I've not physically been there in full disclosure. And apparently she resided in those apartments. So for all the people out there right now that are simply saying, oh, well, this was just a bad apple. Wait a minute. We have Mickey Snow. The allegations have come in that he was a convicted felon, that is convicted for insurance, an insurance scheme situation wherein with an insurance provider that I'm not going to name, that a job would come up and that he would just half-ass bullshit it, but he would pad the billing coming in. Now, I did a due diligence search in Virginia. I find nothing, but that doesn't mean shit. Because interestingly enough, year or two down the road, he's brandishing a firearm and discharging it there in North Carolina. We're waiting on a FOIA request in the North Carolina Open Records Act for that, and apparently that disappeared. And why is that so interesting? Because who lived right next door to Mickey Snow? Why?
I was just going to say, doesn't this guy, I thought, there was reports of him living next to a sheriff. Here's what I don't understand. This isn't something very simple to cover up. This is a very elaborate, orchestrated situation here. There's a lot of people involved here, and wherever the investigation leads, I don't care where it goes, and this is where people want to defend Eric Miller over there at NAMFS about, he can't be an accessory, he's just a figurehead. Bull. He can be an accessory because he knows it's called accessory after the fact, and everybody involved with Snow right now, that they need to pull their head out of their behind and give it up, because this guy has created a real ugly situation in the mortgage field service industry. And this whole scenario right here with the background checks, this should be the bell right here that wakes labor up and says, hey, come on, we can't do this. This background check issue, this guy's got insurance fraud scam in his background. He ain't supposed to be in the position he's in the mortgage field service industry. That is per the rules. Why aren't these background checks going up the ladder instead of being dumped on labor by themselves?
Well, I can tell you precisely why, because there we're dealing with Aspen Grove Solutions. That's Aspen Grove, based out of Ireland, that all of a sudden, through a menagerie, through a plethora of subsidiary corporations. We wrote the story on it. We broke it. We documented how the Secretary of State's signatures and pages were forged. Didn't even exist until a couple of years ago. Then you have some goddamn fucking whiskey drinking Mick comes over here to the United States and wants to dictate to U.S. citizens how the fuck we're supposed to run the business. Fuck him. Fuck Ireland. Fuck all those assholes.
And I'm hearing office audits and stuff too on these people, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm looking at some of the stuff going on in the industry right now, issues that are coming up, such as Safeguard's office audits, right along with Aspen Grove telling you how to run your business. You're an employee, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up and smell the coffee, because it's about to burn in the pot. I mean, this is just so insane. I have never seen ignorance on a level I'm seeing it in the mortgage service field. So I get tongue-tied trying to talk about it. It's that frustrating to me that everybody, I'm not going to name names right now. The idiots out there know who they are. They're in the social media making a fool of themselves. I'm not labor. I'm not boots on the ground. I'm a mortgage service professional. Yeah, you bumped your head on a Budweiser truck, and then you drank the mess up is what you did.
There is no labor left in this industry. There is none. You know, and I want to cut away here. I want to give a quote. So Sam Page, remember this is Sam Page, Sheriff, Rockingham County, North Carolina, quote, "There is no question I will strongly stand publicly for issues that affect our public safety and that challenge our U.S. constitutional protections." Now, he stated this in 2014 when he was running for election. Further, he goes on to say, quote, "I took an oath of office in the United States Air Force 30-plus years ago to protect and defend our U.S. Constitution, this great nation, and its citizens." I guess he took an oath to protect everybody but that 13 and 15-year-old child down there. I mean, where the fuck was Sam Page then? And the question more on point presents, and I feel that it is a fair question. I feel this is a very fair question that perhaps Rockingham County residents ought to have the opportunity to ask, living next door to this predator. When you started to build the case, did you not think you ought to put eyes on the man whom had almost unlimited resources, whose wife saw porn? I mean, the name alone should have triggered. Let me hear that bell again. Ring that bell. There we go. See, that is what should have been going on in Rockingham County, knowing there is a dual citizen. I mean, look, let me break this down precisely, and I'm going to quote from Margaret Moffett down in Greensboro, North Carolina, News and Record. Let's go into this. So, according to the 5-page document, we're waiting on that, and I'm going to close out this segment to explain to everybody who I've spoken with. Snow fled to Amsterdam and then to Panama, where he is denied entry into Costa Rica. Panamanian police, noting the sex crime charges some 2,000 miles away in Rockingham County, sent him back through the Netherlands to Thailand. First question comes into my head, what the fuck do we have treaties for? You know, you know, there's a heinous sex crime.
I'm not understanding why. Don't we own the canal or something? I mean, what's going on there that this guy wasn't held in custody until the U.S. came to get him?
We no longer own the canal. I was actually down there many years ago, Operation Just Cause. We turned that over. China runs the canal now. It's a wonderful compliment vis-a-vis the United States Navy and maritime aspects. But with that said, you know, they had the ability to track this man everywhere. However, apparently not to detain him. Moffat goes on to state that less than a month later, he was being pursued by the FBI, the United States Department of State, Department of Homeland Security, and the Royal Thai Police. We reached out actually to the United States Department of State. And it's in my article that's rolling live at foreclosurepedia.org. We got a reply. Actually, I was impressed from Catherine Pfaff. She's the lady who's always out there on CNN talking with Wolf Blitzer, and she stated that in response, quote, "The FBI is lead on this case, so we refer you to them for comment. We reached out to Shelley Lynch, representative of Federal Bureau of Investigation. She replied back to Foreclosurepedia, quote, "You can access the public documents regarding this matter on Pacer for the United States Attorney's Office for the Middle District, North Carolina." She attached the link. We actually reached out in addition to the Public Affairs Officer for the United States Attorney's Office, Western District, North Carolina, Miss Bontavani. She was kind enough to move us over to where we needed to be and actually offered some assistance on other matters. The point of the matter is this. I'm a one-man show. I wear a backpack. Now, apparently, I'm walking in the goddamn desert like Jesus out here in Area 51. If I can do all this with a goddamn laptop, what the fuck is our government doing today? Is this the message we want to send? Do we want to tell our citizenry that, look, if you're involved with HUD, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can bribe officials. You can rape
about,
children. Apparently, you can rape children. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Because really...
Roger, don't forget you could rob them blind. They didn't go after anybody that faked all those millions of dollars worth of pictures for services.
Well, yeah, and I broke the story on that. That was AMS. That was Lee Mertens, the closet cocksucker. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, he does suck cock. And the queers tell me pretty damn good. He's over there at Acero, running around on Eduardo San Roman's money. That's right. That's the same Eduardo San Roman down in fucking... I better be careful how I phrase this. The same fucking Floridian goons that always originate down there. I mean, this is a repeat of the cocaine cowboys and what was going on at that time in Miami-Dade. And this is, at least to me, this is troubling. Because what we're telling our citizenry is this. Look, if you're labor, take it in the ass. All right? If you're management, suck Eric Miller's cock and all will be well. And that's Eric Miller, the executive director of the National Association of Mortgage Field Services, whose website has been hacked 3 times now in as many months.
I guess I should be glad they locked mine down so it didn't get attacked, huh?
Yeah, I don't.
But speaking of Florida and labor, this is just my, as they say, in my humble opinion, when you deal with industry labor, for the property preservation industry versus the management situation, if ever there was a place in the United States that labor was in a position to come together, it is Florida. Hello, labor, answer the bell, will you please? It's time. But that is the reality. And let's be real for a minute. If there's any place that can do it right now, it is Florida. I really think they can come together as a unit, and no matter what happens, it'll make a statement, and it'll wake everybody up, because it will wake management up. But at the same time, all the rest of those dogs snoozing around, laying in the hot sun, fall's just rolled in, and they're going to get woke up too.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna break out on this for a moment. I want to table this over, probably into tomorrow. We'll do a part 1 and a part 2. I want you to polish up on an outfit called Tong Sua Management. That's what porn. That's the company that she ran. And study up on her. Let's really drill down and talk to her. Tong Sua, Tango, Oscar, November, Golf, Sierra, Uniform, Alpha. Florida Limited Liability Corporation was formed in 2011. Strangely enough, 25th of September, out of business. Now, a Demary Wright got a hold of... Well, hold on, let me get the right name here. It was a Demary contacted me, and Demary Johnson, quote, "Please remove and stop associating Pawn with Mickey Snow and Snow Enterprises. I work for Pawn, and your suggestion that she has any association anymore with that man is causing us all possibly to lose work. I have an infant to feed." I wrote back, "Are you fucking shitting me? You are more worried about your paycheck than the lives of a 13 and 15-year-old whom suffer from mental hygiene issues and were raped.
Is it? Well,
by Mickey Snow."
What, one thing, this Pawn, that sounds like an Oriental, maybe a Middle East name, not a Middle East, but a Far East name.
Thailand.
That's part of their culture, I think, over there. So maybe her head isn't wrapped around too tight to what goes on here in the United States. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying maybe that's where her head was when she wrote begging you to stop because she got some kid to feed. But maybe I don't know, is there a polite way to say you need to go see a shrink?
I tell you where her head needed to have been rolled was with fucking Pol Pot and where all those fucking skulls were of those 20 million people. Because had Pol Pot got a hold of her, we wouldn't have this problem today. And naturally, ladies and gentlemen, in no way, shape, or form do I ever advocate for violence. I'm a very peaceful man. I am a very generous man. In my magnanimity, I only am attempting to bring about information about the problems that we have today in the mortgage field services industry. Now, if anything gets violent, you know what? That body count is not upon my mind. The blood is not upon my hands. Only look to Eric Miller and these other individuals like Mickey Dale Snow and ask, why do we now have a body count? And I fear, ladies and gentlemen, that precisely there is why we are going to have a body count. And when they come in and they crack those books, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to look bad. But Aaron, I'm gonna bug out of here. It's Halloween. And incidentally, I wanted to introduce a lady, Miss Stacy Galvin. You know, Stacy's down here at Area 51 with us. We're hoping to, see some great things coming out of her. She's a very intelligent young lady, and we're hoping perhaps to weave her in on some of the podcasts, maybe launch her out on her own rendition come January. But Stacy, why don't you come over here and say hello?
Hello.
You hear that out there?
Hi. Well, welcome to the madness of the mortgage field service industry media gurus. I don't know what to say.
Well,
except for this, I had fresh strawberries this morning. Wilson and I were out looking at agriculture history in my yard in northern Nevada, and I wished everybody a happy Halloween, with had the bell ringing for pancakes this morning and everything.
Well, Aaron, as always, I appreciate you getting on here with me. It's Halloween. I'm gonna bring it to a close on that note that tomorrow, I want to get in deeper. I want to flesh out the connections with Tong Sua Management. I want to flesh out the information that I now have in my possession, and I'm going to throw out one out there. One of the biggest sources that we flipped in this whole endeavor, the individual with the keys and was known as a man with no face. So everybody can think about that out there tonight, my brother. And I'm going to tell you, what we're putting together here is voluminous. I mean, it is the tomes that will be documented when this is done. I'm going to tell you, they will speak about this for eternity. This, my friend, the breaking of Mickey Snow, and God, I do. My deepest empathy goes out to the families of these victims. I cannot sympathize, for I've never experienced it, but I can empathize.
I mean, this whole thing just gets more twisted and twisted as it starts unfolding, and you can't help but feel for the kids, number one. But when I stand and look at it, and people say whatever they want to say. I broke the law. I went to jail, and you know what? These people are breaking the frickin' law, and they need to be held accountable. I don't care what the situation is. They need to be held accountable, period. And there are too many people. It's like I said, this isn't something simple to hide. There's a lot of people involved here that knew what was going on and kept their mouth shut for whatever reason.
Absolutely. And in full disclosure, we attempted to contact Sheriff Sam Page, Rockingham County, to ask him to be on the show with us. We actually never got a reply, but, go figure. I mean, next door neighbor of Mickey Snow. But tomorrow, same Foreclosurepedia time, same Foreclosurepedia channel. And what are we going to do? We're going to kick them in their goddamn dick until they're down and they can't get the fuck back up. Huh? You with me, brother?
You betcha. Hey, send the link over later. I'll push it out through my spot too, man.
Very good, man. And we're going to go.
Hey, we talked to you a while. What was her name? Stacy?
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We're speaking with Aaron Aviero today. That's Aaron Aviero of Holiday LLC. We've just begun to open up what is going to be a fresh can of worms. Not simply for the family, whom we do have empathy for down in Rockingham County, North Carolina. That's Eden, North Carolina. But the can of worms that I believe is going to be the final nail upon the coffin of both Eric Miller, the National Association of Mortgage Field Services, and an unregulated, multi-billion-dollar annual industry that to date has brought nothing but pain and suffering for the innocent men and women of labor, and nothing but a cross upon the back of the United States taxpayers. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give a final shout out to Quality Image Glass here in Pahrump, Nevada. For any of your glass needs, make sure you get a hold of them. That's Pahrump, Nevada. They service into Las Vegas. And if you have any large contract, they have a DUNS number. They are SAM qualified. They can service anywhere in the United States for the material distribution. Make sure you give them a call. You can find them on the internet, qualityimageglass.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you tomorrow. It's Paul Williams, editor-in-chief, foreclosurepedia.org, signing out.